Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome back to Immigrant Voices and Victories. It's been a wonderful, wonderful season with, guests from diverse backgrounds. And today we have another wonderful guest, the North Solomon King himself. He's a wonderful content creator. He's a nurse. And yeah, there are people we are learning from, we want to be like
Uh,
them when we grow up. Well, yeah, welcome on board, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you. Thank you for having me.
honoring this invite. But if you're new here, kindly subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share. On this, video series, we're just hearing immigrant voices, their victories, and it's just to inspire you and someone out there, to do better, to get inspired with your next big thing in the UK. And we're here today to be inspired by Nurse Solomon Kings. Yeah, so like how we do it on Immigrant Voices and Victories. We always get our guests rolling with icebreakers. So I've got questions 1 to 48. So I'd like you
Okay.
to choose any number.
Number 11.
What's something you couldn't live without?
Wow. What's something like practically or literally?
Anyone you choose is fine. This is what it's all about. It's supposed to be fun and just, go with the flow. It just helps our audience to know you more. So what's one thing you couldn't live without?
Well, I don't think I would live without water. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Can we go for another one?
Okay. Number 6.
What simple thing still blows your mind?
I think right now I would say taking a walk in the park.
Ooh.
Yeah. We don't do it often, but every time it still blows my mind. Like, how free you can be in the world and forget about work, forget about everything else. Just look at the nature. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's mind blowing
You
for me.
must be a nature person.
Yeah,
Water.
I love it. I love it.
So, can you kindly
Thank you.
introduce yourself? Let's know you.
Okay, my name is Solomon, and actually, my full name isn't Solomon King. King is my middle name. It's what most people don't know, but the middle name is not in English. It's in my language, but I just translate to King. So the middle
Wow.
name is Onu in my language, which means king.
Wow. What
And
language is that?
Igala.
Igala. Igalale.
Yeah. So that's what I call Solomon King now. And I'm a nurse, like she said. And I'm in the UK, obviously. And I'm married to my wife. And that's it really. Not a lot about me.
Ooh, awesome. So what
Yeah.
motivated you to pursue a career in nursing? You don't find so many male nurses, do you?
Nah, I agree. Because when I was in nursing school, we're like probably 5% were males. The rest, everybody else, female. So yeah, not a lot of males male nurses out there. But for me, I didn't really want to do nursing at the beginning. Starting out in high school, well, secondary school back in Nigeria, I actually wanted to do mathematics, like right from the get go. Yeah, until like senior secondary school, where I kind of fell in love with the biology side of things and chemistry. I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? Like something is in healthcare. I just like healthcare. Yeah. So the initial thing I wanted to do was to become a doctor back home in Nigeria. And I did make my applications, pass JAM, and there was the option between going for nursing or medicine. Surprisingly, the day I was going to register for post UME, was the day I got my admission to nursing school. Yeah. So I kind of discussed with my parents, and they were like, maybe just go for the nursing and leave this medical thing for now. I'm like, okay, maybe the nursing might be better. I mean, it's less number of years and it sounded like the same thing anyway. So let me try. Unfortunately, let me be honest. In my first 3 to 6 months in nursing school, I did not like nursing. I did not like nursing at all. I started to write jam again. Yeah, in year one of nursing school, I did jam once more. I actually passed the jam, but you know how Nigeria is. Go for post UME and they come back with all of these things. They pick the people that they want to pick, and you didn't match the criteria and all of those things. Second year, I did jam again.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still passed that one. Again, post UME, I had to come back. So in my third year, I'm like, well, this is the final year anyway. They'll just finish the nursing thing and get that out of the way. If you still want to do medicine later, you can go back to medical school and do that. But at the end of my third year, and I started working after school, it wasn't difficult, obviously. For nurses, I don't think it's difficult to get a job. So it wasn't that difficult for me to get a job and get my life started. And all of
Mm.
that made me feel like, okay, maybe explore this a little bit more. And I left the medical thing a little bit, held it there. And then this whole UK journey came along, started getting the news that you could relocate to the UK. Like, actually, I've been watching movies that they do abroad, like Grey's Anatomy and all of these movies. And you see how the nursing system is. It was very different from what I experienced back home in Nigeria. So for me, that was like a motivation. Okay, explore nursing a little bit more by traveling abroad, see what's going on there. You might even like it more than medicine. So I just say, let me give it a go. Actually, that's how I ended up in nursing. Not necessarily because I liked it from the beginning, but yeah, we are here.
I love your honesty.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for those of you that don't know, in Nigeria, we write something called JAM. I am from Nigeria and he's from Nigeria as well. So Joint Admissions Matriculation Board is an
Yeah.
exams that you write before you get admitted into the university, and you have to
Yeah.
score some particular points to study whatever,
Mm.
course of choice. But ooh, that's so wonderful. So I think you just entered into what actually, prompted your decision to move to the UK, because you wanted to just explore more to know what nursing was like
Yeah.
abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was
Yeah.
your immigration experience like?
Right. So I think I'll just take it from where I stopped in the first question. So I came into the UK in 2020, but I started my process back in 2019. Right.
Okay.
That's give and take less than a year after school, because I finished school in 2018, so not very long ago. Finished school in 2018, got a job 2019, kept working. Then I heard about the whole UK relocation process, which wasn't easy because I had to put an outline of all the things I needed to do, pass the English exams, do CBT. Then after everything, start looking for job, come to the UK and do OSCE exam. Yeah, it's a long list. I'm like, okay, just start from somewhere. Because the first thing you need to do is verification anyway, which is just with my own nursing body back in Nigeria. And I did that. It's more of one step at a time was what I did. And at the time, not a lot of people were moving to the UK. Not like what happened in 2021 and 2022, where we had more people coming in because there were content creators like myself and maybe you talking about relocation all the time. So it's like more people came in after 2020, 2021, 22, 23
Mm.
than before then. So initially it kind of felt like a scam. Yeah, I know some people that told me that, "Are you sure this thing is not a scam? Like they're just taking your money, and you might just end up wasting your time and wasting your money." But I've done enough research at that time. I had done enough research at that time to know that actually these guys, they won't put things on their like government website for no reason. It can be a scam on the government website because this thing
Mm,
is out there. NHS is not a new thing. It's been there for a long time, and they won't put something on their official website that is not real. So I went ahead, pursued it, and the good thing is I didn't need any agency to do anything for me. No agent. I just did everything myself. Went on their website, followed the whole steps, and did my English exam.
mm.
Unfortunately, the first English exam, I missed by zero point 0.5 in one
Oh
of
my
the
God.
modules. Yeah. So I had to do it again. So I kind of combined the two results. And at the time we were doing um, the IELTS UKVI. That was the acceptable IELTS, yes, then. And the UKVI obviously was much more expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, about 90 something thousand at the time, compared to the
90
normal
something thousand
English
naira, not
exam.
pounds.
No, 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 no. Nah, not pounds. 90 something thousand naira. Yeah, yeah, not pounds. I mean, it's a lot more now. I mean, people are
Mm,
paying like over 200,000 now, I believe, for English exams. Yeah. So that was how that went for me with the English exam. I did that twice and then went on to do the CBT. I think probably that was the easiest exams of all, the
mm,
CBT. Did the CBT, did my restaurant process, and then started looking for job. Unfortunately, at that time, I mean, there were a lot of people out there, employers wanting to sponsor people, just come along, care homes, everybody come along, come along. I'm like, okay, let me just apply at random and see where it falls. And I actually got a couple of interviews. And the first one that gave me the job was obviously Southampton. That's why I just decided to come here. So it wasn't a smooth journey, but I think it was worth it. That's all I
mm.
can say because looking back now, I kind of see it this way. If I'd gone to medical school, I probably would be finishing medicine 2020, what, 22, maybe, because I have some classmates who in secondary school, the guy just finished medicine last year, obviously because of strike and things like that. So I'm just imagining it. I wouldn't be here by now, maybe. I don't know. So I think all things work together for good is what I say.
Awesome, awesome. So, do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
classify yourself as a wounded doctor or you're proud to be a nurse? Because I know when I was also in school, some of us that wanted to read medicine, one of our lecturers then, she used to say we are all wounded doctors because those of us that read microbiology, biochemistry, we all wanted to study medicine. So, I think
Well,
you can be classed as a wounded doctor, isn't it?
yeah, in a way, I would agree. But now, right now, I don't think I'll fall in that category.
Mm.
Um, to be honest, looking at the UK system, I would never do medicine here. I'm sorry. Nah, nah. All the doctors out there, well done. But nah, I'm not doing medicine here.
Oh well, so how have you grown professionally from when when you came to the UK till now? Because I know to have to write your OSCE, you have to do that here and all that. So,
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, when I came in 2020, it was kind of the heat of COVID,
mm,
and I did the OSCE exam, passed, and then went on. Yeah, let me just back it. So when I came here, I was band 4. So there's a
okay.
banding system with the NHS.
Mm-hmm.
So from band 4, it's more like a pre-registered nurse, and then after the OSCE, you become a registered nurse with a PIN, more like the
Oh,
license, what we know as license in Nigeria. And then with the license as a registered nurse, you go on to band 5 automatically in the NHS.
oh, okay.
Yes. So the way the NHS works, band 5 is like the starting point for nurses. If you want to go higher than the to the next band, you have to apply for the job, more like applying for a new job.
Oh,
Except that in this case, it's either you go into management role or you go and specialize. So if
okay.
you specialize, you can go onto a different route and or go into leadership route on the ward. That's the two-way really I can describe it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So back then in 2020, I did the whole OSCE thing in 2021, got the pin and everything. And then in 2022, about just over a year after I got my pin, I started applying for band 6.
Mm,
Yeah. And again, this is where I would say to people, and I've been saying it always, that the experience that we have or we had in Nigeria is not a waste, right? I think people tend to think that the day they got their pin here, for nurses now, the day you get your pin here is the day your nursing journey begins in the UK. That's not true. So your nursing journey started when you became a registered nurse in Nigeria.
mm,
And all of that experience should be taken into account. You need to realize it first by yourself. Because if
mm,
I'm making application, I'm not going to make application based on 2020. I'll make application based on 2018 because that's when my nursing journey started.
mm,
Right? Yeah. So that's how I viewed it. So many people will say, "Oh, I got my band 6 within 1 year or within 2 years of coming to the UK." It's very, very possible. Like
mm,
very, very possible to move band. I've heard of people who have moved like 2 steps ahead because of their qualification and their level of experience. They were able to apply for it. I mean, if you're a manager back in Nigeria and you
mm,
have stayed in the system here for 6 months, 1 year, you should be able to apply for something managerial, right? So
mm,
it's not a waste where we're coming from. It's not a waste. So I applied for it, and obviously I got many interviews, kept doing the
mm.
interviews, pushing, and the one I got now is what I'm still using. So I didn't go the management route. I went the specialist route.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
So what are you specialized in?
So I'm in rheumatology and research. So I'm doing part-time in clinic and then part-time as a research nurse, band
Oh,
6.
wow. That's great.
Yeah.
So what were those first challenges that you faced when you first came to the UK, and how does that compare to, say, nursing back at home? Home for you is Nigeria, isn't it?
Yeah. More like the difference, right? In
Yeah.
nursing. Ah. I
Keep
no,
it
no, you see,
simple.
it's a world of difference. It's a world of difference.
Wow.
Yeah. I think to start with, I'll start with the culture. It's
Mm,
a different culture here. And again, what I say now, looking back, is maybe sometimes we don't try to learn the system quickly because if
mm,
because we're coming from Nigeria and the system is way different in terms of not just the people, we're looking at the culture you're
mm,
exposed to, the new culture. We're talking about the equipment in the hospital. We use
mm,
very different equipment back in Nigeria. Like these people are way more advanced, and that's the truth. There's no
mm,
sugarcoating it. They are way more advanced. They've got a lot of equipment that we ought to learn. Like
mm,
there were things that we only knew in theory that we haven't like put our hands on. But
mm,
these people have gone ahead. So it's that challenge of learning how to use these things as quickly as possible.
mm,
Yeah. Otherwise, they will class you as you don't know what you're doing. But that's not true. That's not true. I say it all the time, even to my colleagues who are obviously our British counterpart. It's not because we don't know what we are doing, we're not competent. It's that it's a different system. And you've
mm,
got to like realize that if I bring them, like if I brought them to Nigeria to treat malaria, I'm very sure it will be difficult for them. Like something as simple as malaria, right? Because they don't have
mm,
it here. Like we deal
mm,
with some of these diseases in Nigeria that they don't have here. So it's just a difference in in perspective and advancement in terms of medicine.
Mm.
So that was my first challenge. And then obviously I came during the COVID and it was lockdown. Sometimes early on in my career in the UK, they've had to move me around to different wards, particularly COVID wards. So you can imagine how scary it was then with COVID
Mm.
because we didn't know what was going on with COVID. But then even to get PPEs, it was difficult.
Mm.
Like we were just managing really because the hospitals were like kind of stretched thin. So it was one of those challenges that I really faced. Moving you
Mm.
around to COVID ward, you don't even know if you're going to catch the COVID. But for some reason, I didn't get COVID. So thank God I didn't get the COVID. Or maybe I had it and I didn't know. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I didn't come down with any terrible symptoms. Yeah. And it's been fine. So it's really different. It's different.
Mm.
Nigeria is quite chilled
Mm.
compared to this place. These people they will drain you for every hour, depending on where you work. And if you work on the ward, obviously your stress is probably 10 times compared to those who are working maybe in places like research or in clinic or outpatient department. Is
Mm.
definitely different. And
Mm.
you mentioned microbiologists. Now, I don't know how their work is, but I just feel like anybody who doesn't work on the ward directly with face-to-face patients on the ward, I think they have less work than than those who are really doing the manual labor. I've worked in A
Mm.
and E. I've worked in different wards and different systems across my hospital, and I can tell you, I'm not going back to the ward. I'm not going back to the ward.
But
Yeah.
that's where you have to start, isn't it?
Oh
Everyone
yeah.
has to start there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
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 I
And
agree.
then, you just
Mhm.
build up and wow,
You
that's
just
so
build up
good.
from
So
there.
what has
Yeah.
been your proudest moment or biggest achievement since you started working as a nurse in the UK?
I think my proudest moment was when I got this job, this new role, uh, because I really, really wanted to own my time.
Mm.
I'm this kind of person that I want to plan my life around a consistent schedule, so that if I say okay, I'm working Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, or 8 to 6, Monday to Thursday, I know that's my work time. Then from 6 p.m. to whenever I sleep off, I can do it anything I like, right?
Mm.
So it's very different than someone who doesn't really know what shift they are going to do. Obviously, they
Mm.
plan the shift ahead, but imagine if you are doing 3 nights and you have 3 days off. The first 2 days you are going to use it to just rest and sleep.
Mm.
Then the last day you are preparing for the next shift. So for me, it was that loop. And I understand people are different. There are people who may not like the kind of job I do because some people consider it as too boring. Yeah, I've met A and E nurses who really like A and E. They just like the craziness in A and E. And kudos to them, they are doing really well. For me, that's not my kind of life. I can't do that. Like it's too much and too stressful for me. So I think it's individual differences. So for me, it was just moving away from that chaos. Is what I call
Mm.
it, chaos. For my own life, it was chaos. So moving away from that to somewhere more relaxed, you can you kind of use more of your mind than what you are doing physically. Like in research, it's a lot more tasking mentally because you've got to input data and see patient and all of those things. So it's quite different, really. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So with your experience, what would be your advice to, other immigrant nurses that are looking to, advance their career in the UK? How do you think they can succeed? For those, I know you've got loads of videos on your YouTube channel, but just,
Yeah.
yeah, give us some tips.
I would say really, if you're a new nurse in the UK, from the very first day you enter the UK, start learning the system. The system, that's my emphasis always. Learn the system. What I've noticed is when the British nurses come out of their nursing schools, they're not just coming out to come and work on the ward, they're coming out as leaders. That's it. It's the orientation they give them. You'll be surprised that somebody, like if you came from overseas and you've had like maybe 5 years experience in nursing, someone who was a student when he started working in the UK in the NHS might come out of school, apply for managerial role within 6 months, and they will give it to them. You know, I know many times we like to pen everything down to racism. No, it's not. It's not racism. It's not racism. You just don't understand the system.
Mm.
You need to put yourself out there as somebody who can lead.
Mm.
I still know people who have been here for long and they are still afraid to take charge of their ward. Meanwhile, the student who just graduated in the average British nursing school is already taking charge within 6 months because they know what they are pursuing.
Mm.
So I would say the first 1 year of you coming to the UK, obviously the first 6 months you'll be doing things like probation, learning how to navigate the environment. But that first 1 year, take it as a learning curve that you just want to master how the system is. If they give you any leadership role, as simple as saying we want to attach a student to you, take it. If you have opportunity to do bank shifts in other units, do it. Doing bank shifts really helped me personally because it gives you a wider view, perspective of
Mm.
other units and how they do things. You'll be surprised that there's a lot you know. You just don't go out of your comfort zone to
Mm.
understand that you really know a lot more. So once you come to that realization that you know all of these things, then start applying.
Mm.
Again, your experience did not start in the UK. For those who have been working in Nigeria, of course, if you came out of nursing school in Nigeria and then applied to come here, it's different, obviously. But
Mm.
for somebody who has had 2 years experience in Nigeria, 3 years experience in Nigeria, that should count for something. So add the
Mm.
3 years to 1 year. When you are doing your application, don't start your application from this UK. Start from Nigeria that you've been working in so and so place, and these are your experiences so far. Then do your application very well. The UK standard. That is the second one I want to really emphasize. And I've been opportune to look at people's CVs a lot. And I see something that people do consistently is not paying attention to the supporting information.
Mm.
You know, the way NHS jobs are, most of them you can apply through track job, which is
Yeah.
like the whole system,
Mm-hmm.
or you can do your application, and it's well structured. When people come down to where they ask them for relevant certificates that they've gotten, they start listing things that are not relevant. They said
Mm.
relevant certification and training. Like at least, even if you have the other ones, you can put them down, put the
Mm.
most relevant. They can't be asking you for a role that has leadership need. And then you're putting that you've got cannulation and venesection as a training. Yes, it's good. It's just not important for that role. You can put it
Mm.
as at the extreme end. If they are asking for ILS as an important part of that job, put that one first. Let them see that first. Then when you go on to your supporting information, make sure you write based on the job description and the person specification that you are given on that particular job advert. Doing that makes these people know that you really settle down to look at the job description, to really read what they are looking for before writing. I've seen people who just wrote, I don't know, 3 paragraphs and think they are fine. No, you're not fine. You're not fine. That
Right
that
till you exhaust the word
yeah,
limit.
that space has 1,500 word count, and you've just written 3 paragraphs. These guys want to read. Their life is around AC. The truth is, I can push myself to say that sometimes people who are good at job application and interviews will get the job compared to somebody who really know the job.
Mm,
If you're not good at the interview. So
mm,
if you are good at selling yourself on paper and in person, you will get the job.
mm,
It has nothing to do with I don't speak British or Queen's English. Nope, no. If you can speak English enough for you to come to this country as a nurse, you already know how to speak English. It's just the accent that is different. So I don't think people should deceive themselves with that notion that, oh, they didn't give me the job because I didn't speak like them. No, 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 no,
mm,
no. That's not true. If they didn't give you the job and they gave somebody else, that's fine. Apply again and do better.
mm.
So
Yeah, apply
I
again.
don't apply again. Even if it will take 10 times, try again. I think people give up too easily because we just put everything down to, "Oh, they don't like me, or it's because of my accent or where I'm coming from. I didn't school here." No. If they are asking for a particular qualification, because sometimes it's good to get their feedback. I've applied before for a research position before I got this one that I'm doing now, band six. And what they said was they gave it to somebody who had research experience.
Mm,
Fair enough. I didn't have research experience. I was coming from the
mm,
ward and I was applying for band six. If I was
mm,
applying for band five in research, that would have been easy. Obviously, that should be easy. But coming from band five with just less than 2 years experience in the UK, in their own system, and jumping to band six, you've got to prove yourself more. So if they
mm.
find somebody that has, even if it's a little bit of research experience, they might give the person, if the person did well as you did. So it's there's no hard and fast rule. Yeah, you just need to try again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Try again and do better. Awesome. What
Yeah.
about nurses that want to immigrate to the UK? What tips do you have for them? Because I can imagine someone like you know, just seated there watching this interview. Like, I want to go to the UK. I'm a nurse.
Right. Unfortunately, the way things are now, and it's quite unfortunate because I have a lot of nurses who reach out to me and they're like, they've done all the exams. It's just the OSCE that's left and they don't have a job. So that's one big challenge right now. And
Mm,
it's not because of anything they are doing wrong. It's one, the climate now in terms of immigration in the UK, it's changing. Or it has already changed, to be honest. And for the NHS, I find that they are stretched in terms of funding. Yeah.
mm,
Like my hospital, like they've even had to discuss it. Sometimes they've come through our managers to tell us that when we are leaving the office, we should put all the computers off because they are trying to save money on energy. It has come to that. It's that bad. Uh, so these things are happening. They've put a hold on a lot of recruitment for my hospital. I don't know about other trusts, but I've heard some of my
mm,
friends say the same thing as well. So I I think because I did a video recently on self-sponsorship
mm-hmm,
for those who have already done their exams, just to prevent it from expiring. If you have any means of, even if it's somebody loaning you money that you can pay back, what I am most confident of is whoever you are, once you're in the UK as a nurse and you've passed your OSCE and you have your PIN, you are 100 times more likely to be, employed than the person who is still outside the system.
mm,
You get so, and I've heard a lot of testimonies, people who have watched my videos and they've come to the UK through self-sponsorship route, and it's mind blowing because for those people they even have to like select the job that they want. I know somebody who got interviewed, she got the job, and it's like, actually, I have another interview I want to do first before I make my decision, right? And I know that the money to come here on self sponsorship, it's not easy. I understand that, but if you have any means at all, even if it's a friend loaning you that money and they really trust you and they can give you the money, try cut the cost down to as much as possible and just reduce the cost. I put a peg on 2,500 on the video that I did. pounds, of course, um, which means that you might have to get somebody here who is a friend who can accommodate you. So they can like put a letter that they're going to accommodate you. They are going to be the one to take care of you within that period. They're going to be here. So even if it's just for you to come here, do your OSCE first, pass the OSCE exams, and start applying for jobs. The moment you apply for job and you say that you have your PIN and you're in the UK with visitors visa, that all you need is just the COS, and you can go back to Nigeria and apply for your visa officially to come here and work. It's not that difficult. It's just the money that's holding a lot of
Uh,
people.
so I guess the
But
pin.
yeah, the PIN, yeah, obviously. And for those who have not started the process and they really want to come to the UK, start. There's still jobs. I think some people are afraid to start anything now. Start. The earlier the better, right? If you already missed opportunities of last year and last 2 years, the other best time you can start is now. You can start now and see how you go.
I'll start now and see how it goes. Sponsor yourself and come to the UK and try to write your ski exam. And yeah, all Now Solomon King is saying is start now.
Start
Start
now.
now. Just
Yeah.
start now. Wow, awesome. It's been a wonderful, wonderful interview. Just, hearing another voice on Immigrant Voices and
Thank
Victories,
you.
sharing tips, his experience. And I'm sure we are all inspired. And as we, finish this interview, we just wanted to ask you, looking back, what is one piece of advice you wish someone had given you before coming to the UK?
It's a lot. I think it's a lot. And I've made quite a number of mistakes. And one of the advice, I think, even though I'm not sure I would have taken the advice then, yeah, because as a young person coming to the UK, you're coming to a new system, you're like, oh my God, I'm making all of this money. Come on, let's just spend it. Let's just spend. Yeah, it's different for everybody,
Yeah.
uh, especially if you don't have any big time responsibility in terms of kids and husband or wife or things like
Mhm.
that. It's going to be different. And one piece of advice I think I would give, I'll give to my old self if I were coming to the UK is to avoid spending on things you do not need,
Spending.
or spending on things that you don't need.
Mm.
Like reduce your expenses to the lowest possible. The reason I say that is I believe now that within the first 2 years in the UK should be not even the first year, maybe the first 3 years should be time for building, like proper building structures that will stand for a long
Mm.
time. If you blow that first 3 years, you might have to start again because if you don't save, there's no way you're going to invest in yourself later. In terms of getting on the property ladder, for example, that I think that's the number one thing I would advise people to try and look at instead of coming here and start buying things that you couldn't afford when you were in Nigeria, but because now you are here and you have small money, people will not hear again. Yeah, we've all done these things, and looking back, it won't pay. It won't pay
Mm.
anybody in the end. It won't pay you. But look at the other side of it, that you've been here for 2 years and you're able to save £20,000. And that £20,000, you can put it down as deposit on a house.
Mhm.
And this house will continue to appreciate over time. You're no longer renting after
Mm.
2 years in the UK. Think about that. That's a big achievement than say I have an iPhone. I bought the latest iPhone, or I've got the latest Apple gadget, or some fancy thing, fancy clothes or something like
Mm.
that. Or I've traveled around the world within 1 year in the UK. That's fine. It's okay to travel. There's nothing stopping you from traveling. But I'm just saying, like, cut down your budget and
Hmm.
save. Save more.
Cut down your budget and save more. So, what are your final words for immigrants in the UK?
Yeah. Well, final words. Uh, I really hope that eh, we who are immigrants in the UK, we can really get to understand the culture of the people. And as much as we still need to retain our own uniqueness, we've also got to understand the people we are living with, and try to understand the system. Now that we are here, we're not in Nigeria, we're not in Africa, we're not in the Philippines or anywhere else. You are in the UK. As much as you want to retain your uniqueness, try and understand the system, because the system is what will work for you, not where
Mm,
you're coming from. You have already left your country. Just leave some of those things back there. Understand the system and see how it can help you. For example, I think I was just sharing with you about the political climate here. It's
mm.
different. I still understand their political system. I'm learning every day, because I don't do campaigns the way we do campaigns in Nigeria. And you're like, come on, Ghana people are doing real campaign, not debate. But I can understand because they're not discussing the little things that we discuss back home. They're
Mm,
talking something else, policies, laws, and all of those things. So it's a different system. And if you decide to vote for somebody you don't even know, it might affect you. People don't think about it. It's going to affect you one way or the
yeah,
other. you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Just one of those things, like learn the system and try to blend at least. Yeah.
Awesome. Learn the system, retain your uniqueness, but learn the system. Oh, what? Learn the system. What a wonderful interview with Nurse Solomon King today
Thank
on
you.
Immigrant Voices and Victories. Thank you so much for coming on board here. We're so grateful and we're excited about, celebrating more of your victories in the
Thank you.
nearest future. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, don't forget, subscribe to this channel and then go and find us Solomon King. He's on YouTube. Creates a lot of content about how to migrate to the UK. He shares his experiences, talks about his life as a nurse in the UK, and there's so much more beyond this interview to learn from him. So go find his channel, go find him on LinkedIn, connect with him. And your story might be the next we might be sharing. Reach out to us if you have a story that you want to share, inspire others as well. Thank you so much. Like,
Thank you.
subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, King, for coming
Thank
on
you.
board here. I love that name, actually, King.
Thank you.
God bless you, no limits.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Yeah.